Today, I want to share some of my 2020 vision and the problems I am perceiving here for our collective. If you see my eyes wandering back and forth, it's because I'm multicasting. Facebook, you are not working right now. So please go to YouTube Live or Instagram. Thank you guys for being there. So, what are these new things, these new clarities that are coming in for this next year? We are right in the middle of the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere. A huge opening of the veil of collective gaslighting, as I want to call this, all right, where we can see through things. And this is just the beginning, guys. There's going to be a lot of this thirst for truth in this next year, and it bring up a lot of issues for us personally and for our collective. And more so than in the past years, I guess this year we could already feel this. We'll be dealing with collective issues, but we'll also be dealing with personal transformation issues. And I want to share with you what I'm seeing here. I would love you guys to communicate with me, to uh, tell me where you're from, tell me what your views are, and ask questions. This is a truth talk, and I'm going to go really deep into some of the things that will enhance your vision and maybe shed some light into areas that weren't so aware for you before. One of the big things, and I see you guys on YouTube, by the way, Canada, I see you. Yes, I see you, Trinidad. I see you guys on Instagram. So we have a connection. Wonderful. Thank you so much for hanging in there. I had technical issues this morning. One of the biggest characteristics of 2020 is the bifurcation, the split of reality. And this is something that has to do with the duality of our ego perception, guys. I talk about this a lot, how it is practically impossible to see truth when we are attached, when we are caught in our ego's perception. Why is that? Because our ego is linked to our 3D-ness, it's linked to our physical survival and also to our emotional and mental survival. In other words, if there is a threat, if there is an emergency, if there is just so much as the smell of a threat, okay, our ego will steer us into looking at things in a very narrow way, in tunnel vision, so to speak. And in order to consciously outvibrate this, we've talked about higher vibes here in these last weeks a lot. We need to be aware of what our ego is actually communicating to us. If we are unaware of this, we become very susceptible to outer energies. We become very susceptible to collective gaslighting. And what is collective gaslighting, guys? That is all sort of the energies and the values and the ought tos and shoulds that are sort of floating around in our collective unconscious. All right. So the more you are caught in your ego, the more you perceive your reality as a threat, the more you'll be susceptible to outer energies. Okay. And these outer energies, they can mess with your personal energy in many different ways. Most of you guys are energetically sensitives, are empaths. This is what I've been doing here for the last 10 years, building this community of empaths around this world, is in form of obviously, 3D issues, not feeling good enough, feeling isolated, feeling like you are the only one who can see reality, or constantly questioning your reality, one of the hallmarks of narcissistic gaslighting, and aspects of physical transformation. You feel that there's something wrong with you because nobody else is basically confirming your reality, and also this segregation that is happening, this isolation that we choose. Okay, when you feel yourself isolated, when you feel like the world is hostile and everything is kind of lined up against you, that's when you know that you're in your ego, guys. That's when you no longer can see truth. All right, truth in the sense that it actually can inform you whether something is life supporting or life degrading, whether something is good for you or not. And this is the big movement here in this next year. There is this unbelievable thirst in us for more clarity. We want more purpose. We want more meaning in our life. We want to really know who we are. There's a huge wave of spiritual awakening in a non religious sense that our collective has never seen before. And what this creates is an enormous pressure of people that are actually pushing for truth. It is important for us to see truth, not to uncover untruths. All right, we've uh, had our share of confrontation with untruths here in these past decades, and this is really the lesson out of all of this. All right, to stop going against untruths. Untruth is there to teach us what is true to us, and not to bind us into fighting against it. The big bottom line of 2020 is that this will shift for all of us. We will see these shifts in our collective on all levels, in regards to politics, in regards to finances, in regards to overall power structures, obviously, because this is what this whole transformation is about, but also in regards to our personal lives and how we treat another, how we are going to live with another. According to marketing research, guys, the values, the social values, the values for us as individuals have made a drastic shift within the last couple of years, away from status, away from financial gain, towards fulfillment and towards security. School children that were asked 10 years ago what's on the top of their interests, okay, would come up with things that have to do with consume, with owning certain things, with becoming successful. And today, amongst the top 5 of these values, ranks safety. Okay, the fear of school shootings, the fear of not knowing where this planet is going to go, the environmental fears, the political fears, all seem so surreal for our youth that they are checking out, that they are numbing themselves with dopamine driven, gaming, getting attached to the phone, and constant distraction. So those things are the problems that we are facing here, along with some other global issues, such as political issues, such as karmic collective issues, tribal issues that are all coming up here to be resolved on a karmic level. Why is that? I'm going to answer this here in a couple of minutes. Also, personal freedom. Why do so many people wake up to the toxicity of their relationship? Why is this whole narcissist empath problem suddenly such a publicly discussed problem? The Me Too movement and so forth. We have a new movement into freedom, and this needs to basically be trained. We need to train how to work with our personal freedom, be it spiritual freedom, emotional freedom, financial freedom, the freedom to determine to co-create our own life responsibly. All right, and all these issues that are sort of piling up here, okay, they're leading to something that I've called in many articles over the past 10 years bifurcation. Bifurcation means that there is a, a crossroads where we all have to make a choice, where we all have to choose the higher or the lower route, the higher or the lower expression. And when we talk about higher vibes, guys, we're talking about choosing the higher expression. All right? We always have this choice. This is our free will. And in these next 10 years, and this is where 2020 comes in, this choice is taking place right now. Okay, it's already here. Okay, future is already here. It's happening. Okay, everything that we've been waiting for is happening right now. So we all need to wake up. And when we choose to go into nostalgia, into hostility, into isolation, into not wanting to see truth, then we are basically choosing the lower route, whether we are aware of it or not. And this is the sort of the tragic thing about the duality of our perception, all right? That there's always two ways of looking at things. And these two ways, I want to go a little deeper into this with you guys right now, how we can look at some of the issues at hand in two ways, and what the higher and the lower expression of this, uh, what these options are for lower and higher expression. So buckle up, guys. This is going to be a truth talk in the truest sense today, but I want to include you guys what you feel as the biggest issues coming in right now. What are some of your concerns? I would love to respond to them if I don't have them on my list here. What is your biggest concern? On what level of existence do you see the biggest problems here for our collective or for yourself in the coming year? The importance of this year 2020 is that it has this crossroads characteristics, this bifurcated reality marker. Okay, this is something that visionaries could see for a long time. For 30 years, we've been talking about this, and this is happening right now. Okay, so there are these two realities that exist simultaneously, and depending on a person's consciousness, depending on a person's sort of wokeness, if you will, we experience two different realities. I talked about the why or brought up the question why these issues with narcissism are coming up right now, and why they are being discussed in this public way more than they ever have. That is because it's part of it. Okay, so in the past, the power structures that are have basically promoted narcissism to a degree that our societies have developed into this solar plexus, dog eats dog, performance, harder is better, more is better, and constantly comparing another. This is something that we can observe in narcissistic families and narcissistic grooming, so to speak, where the siblings are being basically pitted against another. And this is the what is happening here on a collective level. We are being pitted against another. And how is this happening? Through our performance anxiety, through this need to wanting to be somebody. And this drives us into our false self. This drives us into these projections of ourselves, these, what I need to do, who I have to be, what other people think of me, the externalization of my power. This is really, really important to understand. If you are driven by what other people think of you, if you see yourself and your future self through the eyes of others, you have externalized your power to create. And those of us who can see truth, they have an inkling of that. They might not know exactly how to do this, how to tune into their true self and how to build that relationship within. All right. But you're feeling this already, that this is something that needs to happen. How are you feeling this? Well, empaths of the world unite. You guys been suffering here for the last 30 years because you have had extremely strong physical sensations and pain, literal pain, as you're now learning. Okay. And if you're not aware of this, you might be learning this right now. Okay. Pain when you are not in truth, when you are acting against your own values, your own integrity, be it physical, emotional, or mental pain. All right. And this is your instrument now. This is your new truth tool. So, yes, this 2020 vision comes with a lot of different challenges, guys. Namely, to let go of all this dualistic good and bad, black and white, my team, your team, me, you, better, victim, all the resentments that we've formed, all the disappointment, the lost faith in humanity. All that needs to be let go of. This is the veil of collective gaslighting, guys. You've been gaslighted into thinking that you are alone, into thinking that the reality out here in 3D is a different one from how you're feeling this, how all of your systems have been communicating this to you all along. So, yes, there's a lot of hardship that you've experienced as empaths and energetically sensitives, and many of you are in the middle of this spiritual emergence and all these emergency symptoms that come with this. This means that you're going to have to drop the idea that you have to be in a certain way or that you have to fight or compete with something. The number one tool for 2020 is togetherness, is support, is contribution. And you know, this marketing research that I mentioned in the beginning has already figured this out. If you look at ads, commercials, and so forth, you'll find out that most of the symbols that they are using to speak to you, to speak to this unconscious need for coexistence, co-creation, and togetherness is through pictures of pets, of cute kitties, of kids, cute family situations, creating, and this is now the duality of this is now sort of the lower expression of that, creating a nostalgia in you, creating this feeling like, oh, everybody else has this beautiful family and this beautiful love life. I'm the only one who doesn't. I guess I have to try harder. I guess I have to be different in order to obtain this. Do you understand what I'm talking about? It is the false application of this, all right? The false science, the, the influence on information. I'm trying to avoid the word fake news, but I guess it's fitting here in this context. The fear mongering that drives you into externalizing your powers. Your power is truth, guys, and you can feel it, whether you have the vocabulary for this already or not. That is what I call truth training. That is what I call energy awareness, soul self-awareness, and forming, actively working on your true self reality, your true self relationship, okay? And that is something that we are self-responsible for. If we are not willing to let go of all the things that are being in this populistic way, in this propaganda way, that are being sort of basically put on us like a helmet. I often see people like having a helmet on where what they're seeing is literally filtered, okay, through the collective gaslighting, all right? So if you're not willing to take that step and to go into this place where you are really working with yourself, with your own inner feeling, not the feeling that comes through emotions, not the feelings where your mind judges what you are experiencing and sends you in these endless loops. in these mental endless loops, in these emotional endless loops. No, this is about learning how to feel truth, how to use your own energy system's ability to determine, to discern if something is actually life promoting, life supporting, or life degrading. Whether something is high vibe or low vibe. And this is what this spiritual awakening truly is about, guys. It's about us awakening to this ability that is already within us. But there is new things that we need to learn. There's a new science really that has to form around this. And you know this about me. I've been sitting here, for 10 years, broadcasting the same message over and over again. All right. This is something that we all have to verify for ourselves. This isn't resolved with listening to those new age YouTubers, that tell you that, oh, there's going to be aliens that are going to rescue you, or the seventh ray from the purple planet. I'm exaggerating right now, but you know what I mean. This spiritual nostalgia that is being created in you is something that keeps gaslighting you. It's something that influences, narrows your vision, narrows your perception into externalizing your powers. Yes, Amanda, I'm so glad that this is ringing true in you, that you feel this as a confirmation. These things have to be said out loud. And if you want to learn how to get this 2020 vision, this true vision, all right, then pay attention, be alert. This next year will come with huge issues. It will start right with a clash collectively, globally, and we'll recognize that most of these subjects, most of these themes are now much bigger, much greater than our personal pity, ego problems. But the counter movement, the counter force to this, and I'm going to talk about this here in a little bit, is the gaslighting. Okay, so what is going to happen here is that on one hand, the amount of people awakening to their own spiritual thirst, their own thirst for truth, and the people who are basically being steered into superstition, a new dark age of spiritualism, of propaganda, and sort of convoluted fear mongering. Okay, is going to heat up. All right, this is the bifurcation. All right, so right now the propaganda that you're seeing is using these needs that are awakening in people, such as togetherness, such as support, such as contributing, such as family, community, to increase your tribal trauma, the karmic collective trauma that you have been carrying within you. Okay, and this is showing right now on the political and the financial and economic scene out there. Watch this. Watch how you're being injected with the idea, okay, that there are enemies out there that are out to get you, okay? And we'll have in 2020, we'll have big issues with supply on all levels, food supply, um, trash supply, and of course, the environmental issues that are also being politicized and used for propaganda. And there is absolutely no doubt that, we have been treating this planet just like how we've been treating ourselves, with disrespect, and not according to higher vibratory values. All right, but this has to start within us, guys. Blind activism, and falling for this fear mongered fighting against something pulls you back into externalizing your powers. You got to start within here. You got to start with respecting yourself more, respecting your body and your energy body on all levels of your existence through more self-care, more self-love, and especially more truth. And that then enables you to become empathetic with others and the planet. Trying to save the world while you are in toxic relationships, while you are working at places that internally make you sick, has no power, guys. Fighting against the dark forces while you are sitting somewhere on a mountaintop and think that you can save the world by being a spiritual warrior has no power. This is not how this goes. And I'm not neglecting the existence of dark forces. They're there, yes. And all the conspiracy theories about, the powers to be and blah, blah, blah. Yes, yeah, it's all true. It's not true in the sense of superstition that they're out there to get us. No, it's the old paradigm. It's the power paradigm, the solar plexus paradigm. So to go in and think that you could change the world, all right, by fighting against it, you're falling for it again. That is the gaslighting. And it expresses in other ways as well. False science, that is one of my big concerns. These the statistics that are coming out and that are showing people how, certain things such as, um, that sound like spiritual freedom, but that actually capture people in the fear of fanaticism. Okay, religious fanaticism is one of the other big issues here for this next year, guys. So we're going to have to be very, very careful with the source of all this information. Where is this coming from? Just because they say, well, there's studies that show blah blah blah, it's not proof. There were 97 of all scientists in the 1500s agreed with the fact that the earth is flat. And it's really, really funny that this flat earth movement has sort of spiked up in these last years. It really shows, how you can use peer pressure, how you can use the pressure of the collective to distort truth. That is what's happening. All right. And the main tools are this gaslighting through all the instruments that I've already mentioned: populism, propaganda, nostalgia, new age superstition, and as a result, a numbness in us, the need to check out, the need for instant gratification, the need for ego soothing. Okay? So your job is to develop your own truth roadmap here, to connect with your true self, to connect with your soul self, to learn how to live a life in truth, and to discover that you can co-create your reality together with others by trusting in others, by having faith in humanity, by having faith in yourself, by quenching this thirst for truth through active work with yourself. We all have to deal with these karmic issues that we brought into this life as part of our journey, so to speak. But they are only there to lead us to truth. Everything that we've been experiencing here in these last 10 years, guys, was all just about the confrontation with our untruths, to show us what does not work for us, what is not good for us. All right? So, what you need to do in order to find more purpose in life and to find more fulfillment in your life is to tune into this now. What have I learned from all of this? And how have I used my powers? Have I been externalizing them to other people, to partner, to my employer, to some spiritual idea? Are you truly standing in your power? Are you truly seeing yourself as someone whose life is happening through you? And for those of you who've already explored the spiritual path of soul self awareness, for you guys, the next level of this is to really go into the understanding that you are a part of this divine creation energy and that you are here to contribute, to support others. That you are a radio tower, just like me, okay, going out there. Even though I have 3 children, I have lots of work to do, and I can't even afford it. And yet I do it because this is the strongest drive in me. Because I recognize that divine creation is working through me. And every time I do these truth talks or energy tips or energy updates, public webinars, hundreds and hundreds of them, all right, I know that it's going to speak to one soul that awakens through that, that begins to feel something inside. And that soul is going to awaken, and that soul is going to be part of this. This is how we support change, guys. We support another. My personal mission is to support those who support others. I do extensive trainer healings, as you know. I help other professionals to integrate truth training and true self-awareness, energy awareness into their practice, into what they're already doing. I do a lot of education, and that is something that needs to happen because we don't have a roadmap yet. Most of you are still stuck in trying to find out what your own integrity really is. And here is a tip for you guys. Every time you hurt, every time there is a pain in you, be it an emotional pain, a mental pain, or a physical pain, it's because you're acting against your own integrity. It's one thing to compromise with 3D. We all have to straddle these two worlds. And it's another thing to let it compromise you, to let it compromise your values. The pain that you're feeling is part of your inner signaling, part of your inner roadmap, and your job is to refine this. Your job is to build this lexicon of inner sensations, of inner feelings. Your job is to allow yourself to truly feel yourself, to truly know what truth is, and to act upon it. The reason why I'm doing this, guys, is not because I think I'm saving the world with this. It's because I can't do anything different than that. Anything different hurts me. It's not me doing this. All right. I'm sometimes watching my own truth talks and I'm like, oh, I said this. It's not the me in me that does that. Okay. It's the part in me that is aligned to my true self, that is aligned to my soul self, that does that. And that gives me fulfillment. That gives my life meaning. That gives me happiness. That makes me a person that is able to be empathetic, to be there for other people without sacrificing my own needs, without sacrificing my own truth. Okay, and this is where 2020 is going, guys. One more thing about security, the third of these main themes here coming in for 2020. Financial security, security with home, security with your tribe, the belongingness, the first chakra aspects of our being will be triggered big time here this next year. So all these things that I'm talking about, they are theoretical until you are confronted with these fears, with these first chakra issues of where do I belong? How can I, be here? How can I claim my stake? How can I actually make my living. And that's when you have to practice it. Don't tell yourself that, just because you're reading spiritual things or watching spiritual videos that you're actually working on it. No. The moment you don't have enough money to pay your bills, or the moment you get rejected, or the moment you get betrayed by other people, watch what your ego is suggesting you. That's where you will find the truth. You will go into this isolated, I'm not good enough, I need to go harder, I need to fight against something, or in going into rage and going into this envy or whatever it is. This is your ego vision, guys. All right, so straddling two worlds and being able to maintain your level of consciousness, which goes hand in hand with the level of truth, all right, is the true test here for this next year's. Many people are not able to do this, and you'll watch this happen. There's a very, very concerning attitude growing in all our, first world societies, and that is that we're developing something like a retirement society. People are literally focused, and this is part of the propaganda, on their entire retirement, on their Medicare, on their lifestyle after their big sacrifice, and literally starting to count the years of retirement if they can even afford it. This is extremely disconcerting, guys. When you watch this and people, all right, this is a sign for you that they are not in truth, that they are not in the moment. Their powers have been so externalized that all they can do is literally count the years until they die. And this is the true nature of the dark forces messing with us, guys. We are becoming, or we are being led to focus on death. And some of you are going through this right now in your lives. I've talked about this here in the past months. There is a lot of closure, a lot of completion, a lot of endings right now in most of your guys' lives. People passing, people leaving this planet, relationships ending, careers ending, okay, for a good reason. All right, so with this impulse, with this thirst for truth, guys, you will be able to manifest a much more fulfilling, happy, and abundant reality. You just really got to tune into this. All right, 2020. And this is the amazing thing. It's such a rare energy that is in here in 2020. Brings in so many abundance codes. I've never seen this before. And some of you, the ones that are working with me here in the hardware program, the soul self journey, you've experienced this yourself. There is a huge opening for those of you who are willing to step into truth, to step into this higher vibratory vision, into this 2020 vision. All right. And my tip for you guys, don't be a sleeper. Stop waiting for something to happen. The ego wants the outer drama, wants the outer reason to do things, or it wants permission because you've externalized your power. So you're waiting and waiting and waiting. How many of you guys have been waiting for decades for something to happen so that you feel you have the permission to be you, to do what you've always wanted to do, or what the impulse is that is coming from within you? It's most of you guys. So stop sleeping. All right, wake up. Open this time capsule. All right, open it up. Future is here. And if you've spent time and effort and resources into your own truth training, okay, you'll be able to feel it as clear as day. Now all you need is the courage to make this jump, to make this choice. You're at the crossroads right now. I don't know if it will ever be easier to make this choice. 2020 seems to be a very, very pivotal point on this soul self journey road. So, all my intuitive speech here, okay, everything that I've been trying to educate you with, that I'm trying to get across to you, serves only one purpose, and that is for you to feel the courage to go into your truth, to know that you are not alone, to know that there is a purpose to all of this, that there is meaning in this, and that you are the one, each and every one of us, one soul at a time, that are making this world from a lower vibratory into a higher vibratory expression. And just so you know, a handful of people who decide to live in this high vibe, and the real one, not the new age, oh, I'm so spiritual and I go to yoga and I'm a vegan and I have this meditation group. No. Mm-mm. I talked about this. You know if you're truly spiritual when you're getting hit with the disappointments and the hardships of life. Okay. Yes. Those of you who've gone through those and who've found the grace within your own heart, within your own true self relationship, okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. And if this has not happened to you yet, then look forward to it. You've been looking, you've been searching in the wrong direction. Guys, you have to go within. That's where you discover your power, and then you have to allow it to grow and allow it to radiate out. And this is how we co create. And the best way to do this is by sharing, by supporting another, because everything that is experienced together has a higher vibe than the things that we experience as individuals, with the only exception of our own reference feeling for truth. That is something we all need to form within ourselves. And I see all your hearts, and this is really firing me on. I'm so happy that you guys can feel what I'm talking about. What are some of your concerns, guys? Yes, you're so excited, and it is reason to be excited, but don't get me wrong here. I'm not going to say, oh, everything is going to be fine. No, it's a bifurcation. You're going to be standing, you're going to find yourself standing at a cliff where you're going to have to make a choice whether you trust in your truth, in your true self, in that integrity, in these values that have been forming in you based on higher vibratory living, or whether you continue to externalize your power to this collective karma, collective and tribal segregation and dualism. Yes, the focus on retirement is a weird thing, right? But trust me, I mean, looking at the political arena here in the United States, this is being made one of the biggest aspects of the 2020 election. Retirement and healthcare in retirement, and people not wanting to give up their privileges that they've worked so hard for, that they've sacrificed so much for. You can transpose this into your own life in other ways. Not wanting to give up something that you've sacrificed so much for. Well, here's the news. 2020 vision means you're going to have to let go of all these things that you've externalized your power to, whether you sacrificed or not, whether you get gaslighted or not. All that needs to be let go of. Your pain, your fear, your resentment, your envy, and your rage. Part of this bifurcation is the enragement that we're going to be faced with in 2020. So you can be part of that, or you can opt out of that and find the true power within your own discernment. It's so cool that you guys are meeting here. Yeah, so this is a big part of what I do. All right, I do live chats because it's easier for you to connect that way. I do live webinars, public webinars, webinars within our Sacred Self Healing community, which is a community of like-minded who are awakening to truth from all over the world. And I have big news for you in regards to that community, because we are growing. And that means I can open this up for more people. So wait for announcements here in the next couple of weeks. There is a new website coming. There is a new program coming for those of you who are just starting, and for those of you who've already been on this journey for a long time. Check www.transcodes.com from time to time, and suddenly you'll see a shift there as well. If you don't have a question, guys, then I'm going to conclude the Truth Talk for this Sunday with you. I hope I was able to fire you up a little bit. I apologize for not being live on Facebook today. Those of you who want to get in-depth tips how collective energies affect your personal energy on a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, social, and energetic level, tune into my Patreon channel. I'm recording the energy tips here for this next week. And if you want to be updated, get notifications, announcements, new articles, new YouTube videos, and so forth, then please sign up for my email list. And share this knowledge, share these videos, share the articles. Don't see yourself as being alone in this anymore, guys. This is your ego fallacy. All right, to think that there's anything special about your pain or your hardship. Okay, it's not. We're all in this together. Okay, and there's a lot of reason for hope. In a week from now, I'm going to do a public webinar for looking into 2020 with dates and more specifics and so forth. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up here what the energy of this next year is going to be. Thank you, Heather. Bye-bye, guys.